Hello, hello! My name is Jack Blade. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're playing Satisfactory today. We're back in the Beginner's Guide series, and we are playing in episode 21. And today we are looking at, and this might become a little bit naggy for some people, but it has to go. It has to happen. It has to be fixed. I've tried at the end of last episode. I've tried in between episodes to fix this and make it work, and it hasn't. I got sick, and I tried to fix it while my brain was basically trying to do cartwheels and like unalive itself. So that didn't really work. So at the end of last episode, this is where we were. Things are like not coming in at all, or it's very unstable, or yeah, like there's a bunch of problems. So the way that we've set it up right now, or my attempt to set it up right now, is to feed everything and entirely from the start of the splitter manifold. So like the line starts here and it goes in and everything. Something to keep in mind with that is that, and this is the fun math that I figured out later, is that we're not getting enough bauxite into the line. Each takes 195.883. So if we take 195.883 and we multiply that by 4, you can see the problem if you connected it to the conveyors, because a conveyor line or conveyor belt can only take 780, so we are 3.532 short. Right, 783.532 point 0.532 minus 780 means that we are still lacking this, so our machines at the end of it will run, like the end of that manifold will always run empty sometimes and never hit full capacity, which it has to for it to be efficient. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to tear all of this out that I've done so far with the belts, with like overflow and stuff here that obviously doesn't work, because as you can see, the machine here is not being fed like fast enough. It needs to be fed 10 bauxite. If I remember correctly, what is a cycle? If I look at alumina solution, we're looking at this one, the sloppy alumina. If I remember correctly, yeah, a cycle is 3 seconds. And if we look underneath here at how fast this is being fed, that is not more than 10 alumina bauxite per 3 seconds. So it needs to be fed faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear everything out, and one of the commenters, I will bring up an image of the comment. I really want to credit this person, so just give me a second and I will find it. The person who reminded me of this is called Lonier Hodgeir 41. That's what it's like. If I pronounce that wrong, sorry. I really tried that. But basically, they have reminded me that like if you can make like a supplementary like system that refills the belt after a while, you can really like run infinite lines essentially, or infinite manifolds. So using that system, I kind of want to fix that. There was a different commenter. Let's see, that commenter was let's build said, I don't understand what you mean, but I would love to, because it seems like you have a great concept I just can't comprehend through text alone. And for that reason, I am specifically putting this in the video so that Let's Build can actually get a good visual representation of it. So I went over to where I'm making recycled plastic to showcase this, okay? So I'm getting rubber from this line, and that belt, not necessarily full belt, but like this belt is going to run into and be split here using a smart splitter. And here, it's a smart splitter that sends down here in this line primarily, and then when this belt is full, it's going to overflow into the next. Okay? And then to supplement, because now I've used an amount of rubber off this belt in this manifold. So now I'm not getting the same amount out on this end as an overflow that I had sent into the system in the first place. So before the next part, like halfway down, I've put in a merger and brought in a second belt. This belt is now supplementing this, right? So over here, it's going in, and this has been set to the same system. So it primarily sends down here, and if this fills up, it will overflow and merge with yet another belt. Alright? And here, it's a really fun part. Like, this is one way of doing it, where I've literally just merged it. But I could do what I've done over here, which is put in another smart splitter, instead of just making a bend and merge it. I put in a smart splitter that goes into the merger. So I have any which first supplements this belt, right? And then continues on. And then I've done the same thing over here. So it first puts in here, and if I have anything left, it then goes on over here and continues like that, on and on and on and on. So what you have is like, if you want to have a name for it, like, it's a long name, but it's a staggered supplementary manifold system. So I have basically, like, technically I have 3 manifolds that kind of build into each other, or 3 manifold levels, so to speak. So you have the basic manifold that actually feeds the machines. This is the what I would call, if you're using road hierarchy like terms, this is the local road. This is the villa that the Rich McGee just moved into and bought with their new CEO bonus. And each of these is that. But this is the road to which they get to their home. That's a local road. And then you have the artery, which is like the big road that actually transports most of the traffic throughout your logistics system. And this is that artery. So this is the second level of manifold. Okay? And that second level of manifold is always connecting to the first one, where you have the local manifold, so to speak. And then outside of that, I have the third level of manifold, which is the collector lane. And that is a collector lane that actually takes and supplements the artery. So that's the third manifold. So all of the external things, like this here, this, and then over here, like this entire manifold system with smart splitters here, that goes down and feeds everything. All of that is just the collector. And then you have the so that's the 3 levels: the local road, the artery, and the collectors. Those are the 3 hierarchies of your logistics. And when you're playing a game like City Skylines, or when you're playing logistics games, you basically need to think in terms of the same way that you do with road hierarchy, where you can go, okay, this is the local road that goes to the machines, that actually fuels the machines. But you need to fuel your local roads. That's can be either depending on how much traffic is on there, because that's what determines it. Is this a artery or a collector? And then you have in actual road hierarchy, you have local road, collector roads, then you have arteries like this, and then on top of that, the final level of it is that you have highways. So those are the 4. And highways in our practical example, right, is the trains, the factory logistics and collector platforms, and like this is our highway system. And then you have like arteries, which is the main buses of logistics throughout your factory, that like either just moves like this, or if it's moving vertically, that doesn't really matter. And then you have the collectors, which is the next level of road, so to speak, that so to speak, it goes like if a road, if a artery is moving west to east, then collectors normally move south to north, for example. So it's helping you move trans arteries. That is basically the purpose of the collectors. And it helps move like and supplement and like all that kind of stuff. And then you have the local roads then, which is the small, like if you really want to be granular about how to use this in Satisfactory, you would basically go, let's see, logistics, like in terms of what they do, you go something like this, where like this moves the least amount of traffic. It's very slow. You don't need to have like the fastest, the biggest, the best, the worst thing you can, like it just needs to move enough traffic that it is easy to not get blockages or backups. And then in the next level you need to move a certain amount but not too much, and then you move a metric crap load like inside your factory with this, and then this is like I am moving thousands upon thousands of parts or items or raw resources from one end of the map to the other for like feeding factories or whatever it is. So as long as you think like this, and that you can, then you can use them to go like, okay, how do these three systems interact? And the way that we've done it here, and this is like specifically, this is to explain so that the logic is there for Let's Build and for other people, because if one person has like questions about this, there's always going to be 10 more that just didn't ask the question. So I want to be clear that the local road, right, is its own thing. So when you create a factory in your head or plan it on a like in Paint or on an Excel sheet or wherever you plan it, or a Satisfactory calculator or Satisfactory tools, no matter what you're using, like if you like think about like what is, like if I place a conveyor belt, what part of the road hierarchy or logistics hierarchy is that belt, right? Is it a local road? Is it a highway? Is it a collector? Is it an artery? Like, what is it? What is its purpose? Because then you can also go like, okay, where can I make these systems or these layers of logistics interact in a way that creates what we need? So that's basically like what I was reminded of, and I've made that system here, or a version of that system here. So what I now want to do is add in like a version of this that actually helps with the feeding the machines all the bauxite they need. So I'm going to basically go back to the factory over here, and I'm going to take a look at, and I'm going to start over from where we actually feed the machines, which is from the highway system. Remember, we're bringing in resources with the train. So I want to go back and basically double check that and go like, am I actually bringing in everything I need? And I can already tell that no, I am not. Because if we look at how the factory is being fed, there are periods of dead space on the belt feeding the factories. And those belts are calculated to be using the full capacity at all times. So what we see then is that these doesn't have time to empty properly. You see, these belts are now empty. that's bad. This cannot happen, and I need to fix it. And the way that I do that is by going back and looking at where, like, how am I feeding this? How much and how fast can I empty these? Because obviously, like, if this one is full now, and this one is full, it doesn't actually have time. Yeah, it's full. So it doesn't actually have time to fully empty before the next load of bauxite comes in. And we want to have like a level of backup happening in these containers so that when these shut off during the loading, or unloading in this case, that there is a supplementary stack in here that actually means that they take from those boxes instead, from those buffers, and keep feeding the belt, so we're never empty. So yeah, I'm gonna go through that, and I'm going to set that up. And once we're done, I'm going to go through in excruciating detail to explain how it works and like why it works. And like I've explained the basis of creating these staggered supplementary manifolds, but let's actually look at how we would use it in this complex of a system where we need to start feeding things that just like need more than what we can fit on a single belt. Okay, so let's jump. I am going to set that up, and we will look at what it looks like when I have figured it out. Alright, we are back. Now, I have gone through this, and I've literally just like set this up, but there are some things that I want to like immediately go for. Yes, I know that this is not necessarily like completely straight lines and everything, but I think that in this case, function is way more important. So I've started with doing this instead. And as you can see, they are starting to fill up properly. And what I have done now is I've actually, if we go over and look at the stations where they bring, like, pick up the resources on our highway level of the system, right? I've basically taken the 3 inputs, and I've made this because I didn't have an even number of inputs for these 4 what's it called? Freight platforms? Yeah, that's the name. So I've basically taken each line and split them into 4 separate lines using normal splitters, like by making a split and then like a 2-way split and then a 2-way split again. And then I've gone over and I've merged all 3 like on like 1 from each. So this is a super like tightly built system. Like I'm really proud of these curves and stuff, but yeah. Basically there's 4 outlines from this, and I've taken the first one here and I've plugged that in here. And to make sure that it's like completely even, I haven't taken like an additional 2 lines from this one. I've gone over to the next input, this one, that goes over here. Then I've done a similar like 4-way split, and I've taken one of those outputs, the first output, and I would plug that in. And then I've done the same thing for this third intake. I've gone over here and I've done a double split over here and over here. And I've taken the first one from that. Where is that one? Yeah, this one. I've taken that and I'm going over here and putting that in, so that there is an actual equal amount going into each freight platform. So I've basically just repeated that, what I've did here, like line number 1, then take line number 1 from the next, and next line number 1, then I went line number 2, line number 2, line number 2, and then line number 3, line number 3, line number 3, line number 4, number 4, number 4. So it is perfectly equally distributed between these. I've also done here, like this is a smart splitter, and we will notice later, because that's in a save that I have further along when I've done more stuff, that I've changed these out for like normal splitters. to make sure that I have an equal distribution. As you can see, that is not the case right now. To make sure that I have a similarly like balanced system for the coal. I've also then had to add so that there's more. I think there's 6 like cars, freight cars, on each train now. So I still have the 7th empty. This is the one I'll be using for the copper intake later on for the clad aluminium sheets. But yeah, I've also done a similar thing over here, where I have, like I haven't split this yet. I don't know why I should, or I don't know why I should. I don't know why I should do it. So there's like more clarity, more. I need to enunciate. Yeah, but yeah, I have done a similar thing. Like this is a larger, cleaner version of like literally the same 4-way split that I've done over there, so that I'm also distributing this evenly, the same way that I have done over there. So that also means that the output here on this end is distributed evenly, and they are like this was standing still for a while, so it was like just stacking up a bunch of bauxite. Because I started with doing this, I started with the highway level of things, and this is normally what you do when you build like road hierarchies as well. I kind of apply this to like when I do logistics, I take the best logistics system out of any separate system and I kind of translate that into whatever. So like road hierarchy are really good at dealing with like massive amounts of different kinds of traffic, because if you think about it, a highway is just a massive sushi belt. So I've basically just taken that principle and applied it. So I've done that, and I'm bringing stuff in. It's still on like same amount of belts. I noticed that this part was like backing up, as you can see here. So what I've done is place in a smart splitter that overflows and supplements this, because this line, if we follow this and go all the way up here, this here is a 600 line. So it's not a 780 line, which means that I can bump a few things over to that belt without it getting full. And then I've basically removed this belt priority system that I had here entirely. Like I still have it for the coal because it works for the coal. It does not work for the bauxite. Mostly because the coal, all of the coal is coming in at least 600 a minute. Meaning that if I transfer over, it will fill up a belt. Since this belt only brings in 300, it's from this one here. This only brings in 300. That was causing a lot of problems. And then if we go, as you can see here, there are now 7 intakes. And what I have done up here is, if you look, I've taken that, and let's start and let's go through this. So keep in mind what I showed you before about the staggered manifold feed lines. So this is the first line here. Basically, it goes all the way under here, or it goes in here, and it just goes straight in. There are no smart splitters, there's no nothing here. This is not where I need to feed this, it is here. Here's where the merger is. This is where I need to supplement this, because I'm bringing in enough on every belt now. Like every single belt has at least 400 bauxite being brought in, so I know I will fill up 2 machines, but then I have taken out 400 from the belt. So to make sure that I have the rest, the other 400 that I need for these 2, I'm supplementing on the middle. So when this gets filled up, those machines gets filled up, this backs up, and then, because this is set to any in this direction and set to overflow forward, then it goes in and it starts feeding here. And of course, then you go like, yeah, but now it's like, as you can see, like this belt isn't necessarily like full all the time. No, it doesn't need to be. the only thing that it needs to do is feed the first 2 machines with at least 400. And then the rest is being brought in here in the same way, with a merger in the middle and a smart splitter that sends any here first and then overflows to the next machine, or next local road, next machine manifold. So then it feeds this. Then I have a similar setup here where it overflows forward to the next, but it mainly supplements the last 2 machines, goes along this way, feeds in here, and then I have the next belt coming in from here, goes under. I noticed that this was kind of like backing up, so I just added in this to like overflow some of that back up further down the line to machines further down the line to make sure that we actually feed all the machines. And I will explain why it does that in a second. So what then goes on here, it goes down, it does that split again, where it goes primarily into the merger to supplement, and then it overflows to the next manifold line, next local road, and then we have a similar thing, like the next belt coming in, it goes here, smart splitter splits it off here, where it sends primarily into the merger and then continues down the line. And to make it easier for myself in terms of logistics, I pull it on the outside here, and then into this manifold where it feeds the first 2 machines, and then I have brought stuff in using this belt. And here's the fun part with this belt, is that I have an entirely separate, like the 7th belt is what's important here. There are 6 local manifolds, but I'm bringing bauxite in on 7 belts. So then what happens now is that when the first belt gets backed up, it sends the overflow to the final belt, right? So when that gets full, it doesn't take, like when that final machine gets, when they get entirely filled up, if we look at them here, like I haven't even, like I'm gonna change this like further down the line as well. I can run these at 100% now. I don't have to downclock them. I'm still going to get everything running at 100% efficiency. So when this is backed up, these things stop flowing, right? So then the overflow means that, like, if we, like, it kind of like bounces back. So this belt gets full, it stops, which means that this belt isn't as needed anymore to like send stuff into the last machines, like to supplement. So then it can like fill its own machines up better, and so on and so forth. So when we start, like we feed machine number 1, and then we overflow, or we first supplement, then we overflow, and then supplement, overflow, supplement, overflow, supplement, overflow, supplement, overflow, supplement, overflow. And then when we hit this line, it bounces back. So then it becomes back up, fill up, back up, fill up, back up, fill up, back up, fill up, back up, fill up. That way, essentially all of the belts, even if none of them are running, or some of them are running like 780, but not all of them. Some of them are running 600, or 600 and some odd numbers. And this way, all of the belts in the local roads will get filled up. It will be that it is feeding in a total on each of those local roads because of this, where I've put the supplementary system. Like, this here would technically be the collector, right? And then you have your like all of these like smart splitters, and then the break off and like merging into a different line, like that little like across systems kind of things, across parts. That is not an artery, that's the collector lane, so to speak. And then you have like this like massive, okay, we're just sending in. This is the artery, like the main lines that are going between the local roads is now the artery. So that's basically how it's set up in this case. So it is in, like, this is an artery, and then here, this, if I mark them, this is the collector. This is the collector level of it. So I have local road, collector, artery, and then the trains are the highway. So that's basically what I had to remind myself, and let me tell you, it was a lot easier when you're not having a fever and you're not feeling like shit. So yeah, that's basically how I've solved the hashtag bauxite problem. And as you can see, like, all of these lines at some point stagger and stop, which means that all of the machines are being full up top, meaning there's no problem on the coal line. It was always this bauxite line that was having problems. So that has been completely fixed now. The second problem that we have to fix now is the liquids, because some of these machines, they are backing up with water, meaning that they don't run efficiently. You can see that it is not 100% efficient, it's on 82%, and these are like stopping and starting constantly, like causing a little bit of a problem. And comment section, once again, is full of very helpful solutions. People popped into the Discord server, and specifically in the Discord server, a guy, person, someone called, let's me see here, is called O Campus, sent me a video by Total Eclipse called Why Your Pipes Doesn't Flow. And I will like just put up a picture of the message they sent. And basically it reminded me of some things when it deals with liquid physics and like that kind of stuff. So I figured out how to solve the problem. And it's not because I have built something necessarily wrong with how I've set this up, because the way that it is set up actually follows the video. But I did realize something, and that is that what I needed to do was actually flush the system and let the entire system all the way down, and let the water come in and like fill up naturally after the fact of like, and then balancing out with this, because the way it is set up now, this water is already prioritized. Like, there's a thing like a pipe priority system. Pipes will always fill the lowest pipe will always fill first, which means that all the water coming in from here, the first thing it will do is try to fill these pipes. And because they do, it means that the water coming in from the top, like this is already filled, so it will prioritize actually going into the machine. At least enough of the time that it creates a stable, efficient system. So with that said, I will cut to when I have flushed the system and I have run everything. I will also cut to full disclosure, I have already made the save file for that, because I've already checked it, and I basically ran and I checked the belts and I checked the efficiency of the machine, and it stayed on a solid 100% efficiency for when I was AFK for 6 hours. So it is a stable system. So I'm going to cut to that, and I will also then have run all the lines out from here. There are 12 times 720. So there's 12 Mark 5 belts that each has 720 aluminium scraps on it, which is an even number, because that is awesome, because it means that now we're going into creating the aluminium smelters. At least that's my hope, is that we will do that in this episode. I haven't actually prepped that yet. I have made the blueprint for it, but the way that I've basically calculated it is that I need 12 times 12 sections. So each section of smelters need to have 12 machines, because that is the exact amount. Each machine takes 60 scraps to make into 30 ingots, which means that, as you can see, that is perfectly aligned with the amount of scraps we are making. So because of that, we need to place out 12 sections of smelters. But before then, we need to run our conveyor belts all the way over here to this side of things, because this side is kind of busy. We're gonna go on this side and bring things down, not to this level. Like, this is logistics floor, this is where the smelters are gonna go, this is the next logistics floor. So I'm gonna run the scrap down to this level, and we will continue from there. So let's get going with no real ado, or what you want to call it. I've done the thing that I talked about. I've basically went in, I clicked this, so this was active, and then I flushed the entire system, and that leveled everything out and made it work perfectly. Oh, that is like a valid solution to fixing the backup of this, and making sure that the recycled water is prioritized over the what's it called? That it is prioritized over this fresh water coming in from the pumps. And basically, I've also fixed the clocking so that it's using 100%, and I've set these to bring in, so each of these pipes are bringing in 480 cubic meters per minute, which is the exact amount that it needs to fill back up the loss of water that happens when we do the recycling, because this actually needs 200 per minute. This makes 120, which means that there's it actually needs an additional 60 water to actually fill up per machine. So that's basically what I've done here, is make sure that I'm bringing in those 60 per machine and supplement the recycled water, essentially. And then I have done this, looking extremely satisfying, in my opinion. This nice straight line, very clean system. And I have also pulled stuff down, and I'm ready to get started here. And what I kind of want to do is create a buffer for this. And this is specifically so that, because there's going to be 12 specific manifolds that needs to be filled up. So instead of letting that take a ton of time to actually happen, what I'm going to do is run these what's it called? Buffer containers like this, that I hope have enough scraps in them when they are full, that when we hit the when we actually start up the machinery and start producing the ingots, that these manifolds fill up faster, because they need, if we look at it again, they need there's 60 per machine. Each manifold will have 12 machines. That's 720. But if I can have this buffer that has 700 and then like when it's coming out initially, it will pump out 780 per minute. So with that, 780 minus 720 means that it has a surplus of 60 per minute to pump in, which means that it will be able to fill up all of the machines in the manifold so that they are all completely full, kind of the same way that these are, meaning that there's never any like downtime. Like when we are looking at this like I've just flushed the system pretty much, so it's why this isn't running like full efficiency. They've also been standing completely still for a while because I removed the sinks, right? So now they're starting up and getting back to efficiency. And then over here we can see the blueprint. Ta-da! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and build 12 of these systems, where this is the start of the local road again. Start of the local road where 720 comes in here and splits and goes 360 to this end and 360 to this end. And in here you can see there is the aluminium ingot recipe, and there's 6 times 60 is 360, perfect, and out we get 180. So because it's 180 out, I can actually take, there's 12 times 30, that's 360, so I can bring them out on one output line. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're bringing into the floor, we're bringing in 12 lines, but when we're done, we will only have 6 lines. Or actually, we will have 12, but what I will do is when I place these down, I will take 2 of these lines, like 2 of this, and I will run that, not in the blueprint, but I will basically take this and go like this over, and I will merge that with the next blueprint over, so that I get 720 on each belt again. That's essentially my plan, so that I only have 6 belt lines to run. That's more or less me trying to be more like lag efficient, so that because the save is already struggling, it takes a solid like 2.5 minutes to load the save at this point. So I want to use less belts and like all this stuff. So basically what I'm going to try and do is merge this output line with the next one and half the number of belts and lifts and stuff that I need to put in to get down to the next level, where we will make the 55 outlet aluminium sheet assemblers, the 10 fluid tank constructors, and the 23 aluminium casing constructors. And the number 141 up there in the side should now be corrected to 144. So I will place these out down here on the next level. Like I will just run the floor out so that I have something to place it on. Let's see, I have 8,000 concrete, should be enough. So yeah, I want to basically just have a floor to place things on, and this is going to be the actual, like on this level where I'm removing now, it is where smelters are gonna be. I'm just clearing it out so I have space to just place them wherever I feel I want to. I just need to make sure that I have space to run 12 lines of conveyors around the corner and stuff. So I basically need to create like something like this. Same thing on this end. I need to create that so that I have about 3 lines or 3 foundations on each side here. Oh, that's one too many. Let's be careful so I don't remove the power lines here. But essentially now what I am going to do is take this, and I'm going to go down here. So let's do back and then go down, so I get my 90-degree curve. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm just going to go further out and around and do the same thing for all of them. And then at the halfway line, I will go the other direction. So let's double check here. And if I want the split, or let's get this right. If I want that to be here, I want this to run all the way down here. What I'm going to do is go up, and I'm going to go back to, and then run down, like so. So I hope that gives you an idea of what I'm about to do. So I'm just going to put this in and start. I'm going to place down all of the smelter sections, and I will be back when we have 144 smelters. All right, we're back, and I have now set up these 144 smelters, and currently the manifolds are like going through and starting to fill up, doing their thing, and damn, it's going to be a lot. 4,000, what did we say? Each of them, it's 144 times 30. 4,320 ingots per minute. Right now I'm just syncing them because troubleshooting and stuff. So I'm just gonna let it run like this for a while and let the like lines stabilize and all of that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be looking at that like in between episodes, and then we'll see each other in episode 22. Now, what I want to ask is, if you've watched so far and you've liked this episode and felt like it provided like value and entertainment and that kind of stuff, to actually subscribe and like the video. And if you feel up for it, leave a comment, say hi down there, and give me your thoughts on this. Like, for me, this is super fun, and I really like the way that it turns out. And I'm gonna be continuing doing this, and then on September 10th, I will be playing 1.0 live on streaming here on YouTube. So everyone who wants to be a part of that, because that's the start of my new series. This series ends when 1.0 comes out, and I started a new series then. So please show up and show support and help me figure out my new world and like what we should do, and experience 1.0 together on stream. So see you then, or see you in the next episode, and until then, have a great bye.